In languages around the world, there are only two words for tea. Either it's cha or chai or it's tea. Whether your tea is called tea or cha depends on whether the tea came from land or by sea. If the tea was first exported from China to, say, England by sea, then it's called tea, because that's the English name. But if it came through land by Chinese traders, then it would be called chai, cha, etc. So there are only two words for tea in the English, not in the English dictionary, but in all the dictionary around the world. And of course, the original tea came from China, which was the green tea. And then there was the tea wars that the English had with the British had with the Chinese. And then they decided to plant the same tea in Darjeeling, in Munnar, in foothills of Nilgiri. And they found that they got a very different tea, which is the black tea, which then the English decided to have with milk and sugar. And I'm not a coffee person, and I know a lot of people who are not coffee people, but they are only coffee people because that's the style. That's the show. It's like a lot of people who take drugs to be cool. So they don't really want drugs. They don't really need drugs. They don't really crave for drugs, but they want to be cool. They want to be seen as cool by their friends. So I'm not into that. But I had a pack full of coffee sachets from Vietnam. And I'm a bit of a miser, so it takes me some time to get rid of that. And then go on to buying tea, which is a 3-in-1. It has a bit of milk powder, a bit of sugar, and a bit of tea. And while it's not the most ideal thing in the world, and I'm too lazy to make my tea in my rice cooker, which I can cook everything in. In fact, I cook most things in my rice cooker except rice. And that's just one of the quirks of my life. But tea takes me back in time, and everybody's cup of tea will take them back in time, as does a cup of coffee. And while it's not a narcotic, caffeine is a drug. So I'm sorry to bring you the bad news. But when I had my first sip of tea with ginger this morning, after a long time, after 100 sachets of, say, coffee, it took me to Nathdwara, which is a place in Rajasthan which resembles more Gujarat than Rajasthan, it is near Udaipur. And that's just the way it is. And we used to have this early morning breakfast called mutia, which is amazing. It's kind of a dumpling, and it's very tasty. Yeah. So it's the steamed dumpling. And then, of course, we grew up in Ahmedabad, which is like my great-grandmother's house in Ahmedabad, in Chaumuk Chinipur. And they made some amazing tea. They had what they call the green masala, which is nothing but lemongrass. And then they would add ginger and cardamom and sometimes cinnamon, sometimes pepper. And that's about it. Mint, a lot of time mint. So it's an amazing piece of history, this cup of tea that I have in my hand. Let me just confirm, the photo that you see on the video is not of a deep well with dirty water. It's my thermos. And early in the morning I had to walk down to the ground floor, and I'm on first floor, to get my boiling hot water. And I had my tea. Mind you, it's not as good as it should be, but it will do. Thank you for listening.